In this lesson, we're going to begin detailing out the hands. Alright, so let's go ahead and start here on the palm of the hand. What I want to do is I want to grab the Dam Standard brush, and I want to make sure that it's a low draw size on that. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start cutting out the creases that we see on the hand. Okay, and just very lightly coming across and doing that. And what you can do is you can start to actually come across each one of those at a little bit of a different angle and kind of cross-hatching a little bit, and that'll start to create the actual pattern that you see. Okay, it's not a straight line. It's broken up and things like that, and so you're going to get these different folds in there. And I'm making sure that I'm coming across that several times and making sure that it's very, very light as I do that. Okay, and so you'll want to get some reference together for like hands or something like that, and just kind of take a look at some of these different patterns that you see. Not everyone is the same. Okay, so they're going to be very different. Some, have this line that go across, but it may not go all the way across. Some even actually curve up and toward the index finger and things like that. So just kind of use the same sort of pattern that I've shown you already, just cross-hatching it a little bit because the skin has been closed together, and so whenever you were formed, your hand's open, and obviously you have these creases here. So I'm going to go ahead and create kind of a stray one that comes up here a little bit. It's very, very light. Okay, and then also come up from here. Have a little one. This one normally doesn't go all the way up. Okay, it may come out to about halfway or so, but nonetheless it may be there. I've also seen some that actually kind of come across and actually join into this line like that. Okay, so the point is that this it could be whatever pattern you like, and you can start to come in and you can say, all right, well, I want that to come in here. Maybe another line just kind of comes up and meets with the rest of this. Okay, something like that. And then you can start to get into some of these smaller, lighter lines. Okay, so kind of take a look at that. Okay, and far away we can see that. We could read that is the creases in the hands. Okay, more importantly, with this, is we want to make sure that we get the creases right across the wrist, and these are actually very deep. Well, not really deep, but they're very prominent. Okay, just as prominent as those main lines that we had brought in. So you're going to get these lines coming across. Yeah, some people have just one. Most will actually have two because there's this little space in between here. And so come in and I'll just make that line as well. Okay, and just kind of coming across that several times, just like so. Okay, at different depths, and I'm pressing a little bit harder here and there and just trying to get that to go up in there. Okay, all right, so we've got that. It's all set there. And then we'll come in and we'll go around the fingers. So where the fingers bend, you're going to have that same sort of detail there. And so again, it's not straight lines or anything like that. It's even kind of spread apart a little bit. So you want to make sure you add all of that in, even in between the fingers, things like that. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing here. And I'll start to work just a little bit faster as we go. Okay, and so I'm just kind of cutting that in, coming at it a couple of different angles here. And I like, on the hands themselves, you may be thinking that the lines look to be a little too thick. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and just keep going with it because I want that detail to be seen. Okay, and so making it a little larger and exaggerating it is not a bad thing. Okay. Hopefully I can get in here. There we go. Sometimes the viewport tends to go a little nuts on me. So, okay, trying to get that all the way across there. And let's go across the fingers here. And it's okay if this detail is symmetrical from one side or the other. It's not going to be that noticeable. If you really wanted to get into it, you could go ahead and switch it up and do one hand and then do another one completely different. So totally up to you if you want to do that. Okay. So coming at this at different angles, creating different lines here. Okay, and we'll just continue on with this. Okay, and just kind of checking the sides, making sure that that looks good. All right, so that should do for right now. You could come in on the palm, maybe add a few more of these edges in here just very lightly. I don't like how deep that one was right there, so and maybe just kind of add a couple in here. Okay, I think we're okay for right now. All right, now let's go along the back side here. We're going to do the same thing on the knuckles. Now the knuckles are going to be a little bit different. We want to make sure that we create these wrinkles, but we want the wrinkles to come in at different directions. We don't want them to be just straight across. Okay, so my thought is you're usually pretty safe with maybe a Z type pattern. Okay, maybe even come in underneath, something like that. Now with females, okay, this may not be quite as prominent, so I'm going to go ahead and hold down Alt and bring up those wrinkles a little bit, okay, in between, and then you'll come in and smooth that out as you go along. Now we may not be able to get as much detail in here as we would like, simply because we just don't have enough subdivisions. You could go ahead and divide it again, but I'm afraid that if you go too far, you won't be able to work any longer. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick right here. I'm going to add in just a couple of these wrinkles in here. And then holding Alt and coming back in between, just kind of raising some of those up. And even on the back side there. And then holding Shift and just lightly brushing over the top of that. Okay. Alright, so let's continue on. And then just about finished with this. I'll go ahead and I'll do these first 4 knuckles, and then you can do the same thing along the rest of that. Okay. Go ahead and actually add a little bit more here. That got away from me just a little bit. Okay, so something kind of like that. And then you can do the lower knuckles yourselves. Now on those, really quickly, they're not going to be as wrinkled as the main knuckle. Okay, there's more skin here, and your fingers actually bend at a sharper angle on these knuckles, where these is probably just going to show up as small acute lines. Okay, so just adding this in, we'll do this last one. Okay, and again I'm going to come in, cut in, come in at a couple of different angles here, and then hold down Alt, bring that up a little bit. Okay, in between those. I think we may have gotten a little out of control on this one, but that's okay. Just kind of soften that up a little bit. Okay, and leaving that there. All right, good. So you can kind of see where we're going. Now, if you like, come back in on some of these and just kind of bring those wrinkles up a little bit more. Just kind of add a little bit more of that sharpness there. Okay, just very lightly coming in along those. Holding down Alt, of course, to bring that up. And then any areas that need it, just kind of bump over the top of that. With the Shift key held down to smooth it out some. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish off with the thumb here. And let's go ahead and just create this one. And then holding down Alt, bring that up in between the wrinkles that I created. And then hold down Shift, just kind of blur that a little bit. Okay. And there we go. All right, so that's the wrinkles of the hands. You can go ahead and you can add a little bit more down here on the knuckles, but I think we're pretty good right where we're at on that. Now I want to go ahead and cut in the fingernails. These will be pretty easy. All you need to do is just go ahead and bring your draw size down even a little bit further. You have to zoom in on the thumb. And oops, let's hit Control Z. It looks like I accidentally started working there. Didn't mean to. And then we'll come in. Oops. Hopefully I can get around that hand there. There we go. And we'll cut in for the thumb. So cut in that shape there. And try that one more time with maybe just a draw size of 2. There we go. Give us a nice deep little cut there. And you just want to come in and create the shape of the fingernail. Okay, we're not going to go in and get it high detail or anything like that. Then you would just come in a little bit and start to just barely soften that, because it's not going to be real hard on either side. The hardness is actually going to be right up here along the front. And then if you want, hold down Alt and just come around the cuticle, because that does get bumped up a little bit there. Okay. And that will start to bring that out, and then just soften it a little bit with your smooth brush. Okay, so you kind of get how that's going to work there. And I just want to maybe come in and pinch that too. So take your brush a little bit higher, not much. Okay, just be easy with it, and then just pinch right along these areas. And that'll pinch all that together. And then you get this nice tight little line here. Okay, and then brings all that together. Okay, and there we go. And then if you need to, go ahead and maybe trim some of that. So hit B, T, and D for trim dynamic. Maybe trim the end of that thumb a little bit. Looks like we got a little bit of a point going on there. And then you can come in and just trim the top of that fingernail. And then if you need to straighten it out, use your move brush. So let's say that the curve on this is a little too much, and so I just want to bring the top of that thumb up and flatten that out a little bit more. You can do that and just change its shape some. Okay, so go ahead and do that on the rest of the fingers for the fingernails. Okay, get those in there. Some of that detail is getting a little lost in there, but I think we'll be okay with that. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start. After that, we'll finish out the fingernails, and then the next lesson, what I want to do is I want to start working on getting the clothing for our character. So we'll get started on that next.